Kiddushin Daf Samach Vov Amud Bet. Avoda is a gym, not a hospital. כשהוא שלם ולא כשהוא חסר. It's quite amazing how when we have regular learning to do on specific days, like the parasha of the week, or in this case the Daf Yomi, how so often it carries with it a message, not just a general principle of life that we can always apply, but sometimes things that are so particularly relevant to the times that we're in. Three giants from the 19th century join us today. We've got the Netziv from Volozhin who's going to join us. We've got the Maril Diskin from Yerushalayim, and we've got the Reb Shimshon Raphael Hirsch from Frankfurt. Eastern Europe, Western Europe, and Yerushalayim are all in our Beit Hamikdash today, and they're all from the same period, all from the 19th century. Our Gemara asks the question of Bal Mum Davodato Psula Minalan. Where do we know from this very politically incorrect concept that if a Bal Mum is physically challenged, is physically impaired, he's pasul avodah, he can't perform the avodah? What is the Gemara asking? Where do we know this from? There are clear psukim in Parashat Emor. Vayadaber Hashem el Moshe lemor, daber el Aaron lemor, ish mizaracha ledorotam asher yeh bo mum lo yikrav lakriv lechem elokav. Anybody who has a mum, any Kohen who has a mum, cannot serve at the Beit Hamikdash to bring a korban on the mizbeach. Lechem elokav mikodshei hakodashim umin hakodashim yochel. He can't bring as a korban the food of Hashem, but he himself can eat. The Kohen is allowed to eat, but he's not allowed to serve. So that's important. We're not restricting his rights. His rights to eat are unrestricted, but his obligation to serve is restricted. But there's a difference. A little Jewish guy of 5'5" who wants to play in one of the big basketball teams is probably not going to be taken on. And if he claims that it's anti-Semitism, they'll say it's not anti-Semitism, but you're discriminating against short people. Your rights are not discriminating. You have all the rights of anybody else, but you can't play on the team. You don't just have the kalim for the team. So it is with a Kohen. Your rights to eat, what you're entitled to, the same as any other Kohen. But to serve, we need people who are perfect in their physique. Because he has a mum. So what does the Gemara mean when it says Bal mum davodato psula minalan? It explains Rashi. What we're talking about is avad belo yediyah minalan delo machshirinan bei. If he already did the avodah b'di'evet, that's a person who's got a mum isn't allowed to draw up to the mizbeach and bring a korban. That we know from Parashas Emor. But where do we know from the din that if he did it and we discover later on, or he discovers that he has a mum, meanwhile he's brought a whole lot of korbanot on behalf of various different people. Those korbanot are psulim b'di'evet, lamafreya. Retrospectively, those korbanot are all disqualified. Where do we know that from? It's not so with a halal we just learned in our Gemara. If he discovers that he's been a halal all the time, that he's not a qualified Kohen because of problems with his yichus, then what he's done up till now is kosher. We don't say that everything he's done is now possible. We've discovered that he's a halal. No, it's fine. But if he's a Bal Mum, then even everything he's done retrospectively becomes possible. Where do we get that from? That's what the Gemara is asking. Answers the Gemara. Omar Rav Yehuda, Omar Shmuel, the Omar Kro. The Pasuk says in the beginning of Parshas Pinchas, Lachen Emor. So tell Pinchas, Hineni noten lo et briti shalom. כשהוא שלם ולא כשהוא חסר. A Kohen is given a Brit Shalom, and Shalom and Shalem are similar words, and therefore the Brit Kuhuna, the essence of being a Kohen, applies only if he has Shlimut, if he has physical perfection. We learn that from the word Shalom. Now, just to deal with the political correctness of it a little bit, why are we discriminating against a person who has some physical imperfection? So the Maril Diskin says, as I explained, he was the Rov in Yerushalayim, the Rov of the Eda Charedis, of the Charedim in Yerushalayim during the 19th century, died at the end of the 19th century. A very uncompromising person, but an unbelievable Talmud Chacham and Tzaddik, who was loved and revered and was very controversial as well, as one can imagine. He makes the point that the Mumin Kohen is a siman, not a sibah. It's a sign that there's some other reason that he shouldn't be fulfilling this role. And Hashem does it through giving him a mun. וצורך, דכיוון דעתה כהן לעולם, אם כן, אי אפשר שלא נמצא אחר כך אחד מן הכהנים שלא יהיה ראוי לשמש בכהונה מפני מעשיו שאינם מתוקנים. If you're going to be a Kohen forever, all your children are going to be Kohanim. It's inevitable that through the generations there will be some Kohanim who have the birthright to Kahuna, but aren't really fit to be a Kohen for various reasons that we might not even know. So how will I stop him from, I'm kind of giving you this blanket license that all your descendants are going to be Kohanim. So how are we going to manage that? So using mum is one of the ways I hold certain people back from serving. It's not because of the mum. The mum is a sign that this is a Kohen that's not fit to be serving. That's how the Maharil Diskin learns it. But Reb Shimshon Raphael Hirsch is as great as he is throughout his works. His work on Vayikra is a must. It's a handbook of Vayikra. If you want Vayikra, Sefer Vayikra, to make any relevant sense to you, you need to learn it with Reb Shimshon Raphael Hirsch. And Reb Shimshon Raphael Hirsch makes an amazing comment, and one that's very important. Mizbeach Hashem lo hukam letzorech shvurim uretzutzim. The Mizbeach Hashem was not given us to cure people who are broken and shattered. This is not a hospital. That's not what the Beit Hamikdash is. It's not a place to gather all the miserable people, all the miskenim, all the people who are having a terrible life and are broken, come to the Beit. That's not what it's for. Ivrim v'psichim v'nechim v'dvuyim v'cholim lo l'shem kach nivnei ha-mizbeach kedei she'adam ha'ayef yishtarech l'ma'alotav v'yamtzi sham nichumim aveilav or refuat playim l'chol yo. This is not a place, you've got some tzoros in life, come to the Mizbeach and the Rebbeinu Shem will sort it out. Go to your psychiatrist for that. That's not what the Beit Hamikdash is for. You've got physical problems, go and see your physician. That's not what the Beit Hamikdash is for. Ki ha'chayim b'shleimutam bira'ananutam u'v'gvuratam yitkadshu sham l'chayim ma'aseh shel avodas Hashem. Hashem wants healthy people, fit people, athletic people, strong people, brilliant people to be standing in the Beit Hamikdash and dedicating their lives to Hashem. Not that people look at it and say, all the miskinim, I understand you need religion as a crutch. No, I don't need any crutch. I'm an athlete. I'm a basketball player, okay? I'm a professor of mathematics on top of that, and I'm a Talmud Chochem, and I have a wonderful family, and I'm a billionaire. And I'm in the Beit Hamikdash bringing korbanos. That's what the Rebbeinu Shem wants to see. That the whole human being gives his life to Hashem, not that broken people go to turn to Hashem. That's not talking anything negatively about broken people. It's just, that's not what the Beit Hamikdash is for. There are other things for broken people to do. The Beit Hamikdash is a place where people see that strong, full, vital people are dedicating their life to Hashem. Not because they need it in any sense of their own weaknesses and shortcomings, but in the sense of that's the avodah, that's the service of God. And through that they will continue to gain the blessing of youthful vitality and the power of life. Hachayim v'hagvura, strong, vital life. Lo ha'mavet v'hachulsha shochnei b'mizbeach Hashem. This is not about death and weakness and sickness that hangs around the Beit Hamikdash. This is a place for healthy people, not for weak people. V'hu doresh et masrut ha'adam ha'shalem. And what Hashem requires is the dedication of the whole person, not of a broken person. V'ha'adam b'shleimuto ya'aleh sham v'yifrach. And if a person takes his shleimus, takes his wholeness, and brings his wholeness to the Beit Hamikdash, that's why the animals we bring also have to be whole. You bring wholeness, you sacrifice wholeness to Hashem. You don't sacrifice misery to Hashem. That's not what it's for. And he goes on to say, we see in Shmos that if you listen to Hashem Elokecha, vayashar be'einav ta'asu, and you do his mitzvahs, and you keep his mitzvahs, and so on, kol ha'machala asher samtem b'Mitzrayim lo asim alecha ki ani Hashem rofecha. I won't bring the diseases of Mitzrayim on you because I am Hashem, your physician, but I am your preventative physician. I'm like Dr. Howard here. I'm not here just to cure your diseases. I'm here to make sure you never get sick. That's what avodas Hashem is about. Come when you're healthy, don't come when you're sick. Don't wait until you're old and broken and impoverished and you come to Hashem to cry. That's not the time for avodas Hashem. The time for avodas Hashem is when you're vital and strong and you dedicate your life to Hashem. That's what the avodas Hashem is about. This is preventative medicine. It will save you from all the illnesses, both of social illnesses, physical illnesses, and mental illnesses. That's what, if you use the Torah, if you become strong in Torah when you're at your highest strength, then the Torah will serve as the potent that it's meant to do to keep you healthy and vital. Ask the Gemara, go back to the Gemara. So we're doing the Gemara in 3 stages here. First, the question: where do we learn from that Avodah is possible with a Balmum? We learn it from Shalom. Ask the Gemara, Shalom Ktiv, it doesn't say Shalem, it says Shalom. Briti Shalom it says, not Briti Shalem. Amar Rav Nachman, Vav de Shalom Ketiyahi. If you look in the Sefer Torah, you'll see that the Vav of Shalom has a little break in it. Some say it's a short Vav, but in most Sefer Torah, it's a little break in the Vav. And the Balaturim brings that. It spells Shalem. It spells, you've got to ignore the Vav. And Shalom can be read 2 ways. Shalom and Shalem. That's what the Gemara says. Says Reb Shimshon Raphael Hirsch, what does that mean? Why is the Vav, this diminished Vav, this broken Vav, what's that all about? And the Reb Shimshon Raphael Hirsch has a wonderful message to us that we need today. This is a message to us, and it's a message to our leaders. And if anybody knows how to get the shiur to our leaders, they should do so. Ulam vav shel shalom hi vav ketia al pirov ashitot vav shvurat, means a broken vav. Sheken brit Pinchas hu shalom hachozer lishleimuto. Pinchas disrupted peace, didn't he? He killed somebody, and he caused a whole disruption. And now, but that's not the end of your job. By killing Zimri, you haven't finished your job. Now you've got to bring peace back to the community. That's what you've got to do. B'makom sheyesh tzorech b'kinat Pinchas, yesh niktah shalom. When Pinchas has to act, when you've got to go into Gaza and kill people, niktah shalom, the word shalom, which is Hashem's stamp, is broken, it's damaged. It's not an ideal, that's not what we want. Uma'avako shel Pinchas mechuvan lachzarat hashalom letikuno. And Pinchas's real job, after he's done away with Zimri, is to bring peace back again. And we're so obsessed at the moment with winning the war, and so our soldiers have to be obsessed with that. But our leaders shouldn't be obsessed with that. They should already be thinking, and what do we do after the war? How do we make sure that we bring shalom back to the state, to the people of Israel, to the world? How do we make sure that this is actually a step towards shalom and not a k'tiyah, that we're not just damaging the vav? U'nilcham she'ashalom yashuv liot shalem. Pinchas's role is to battle that shalom should become shalem. And that's where we get the halacha from about a psul. Why? Because, says the Hirsch, if you want to bring damaged peace back to shleimut, only a person who is shalem can do that. You can't be a damaged person. If your character is damaged, if you've lost the trust of the people, if the people don't believe you anymore, get out of the way and bring somebody who has personal shleimut, somebody who has character. Because only leaders of character will be able to take the nation back after all of this to a much higher place than it was before. If we don't change the leaders, we won't change the country. Because we've got to be able to find surely somewhere their leaders who have character. It's not to say anything negative about the people who've led us this far. They've done wonderful things and great jobs and everything great, but we need a different kind of leadership. We need this Vav K'tuah, to bring shalom to shalom. After shalom has been damaged, the Vav has been broken. Now you want to bring it back to shalem. For that you need a person who's shalem. And that's the message of a Kohen who's a Balmum, can't serve in the Beit Hamikdash. Because there's got to be shlemut, there's got to be external perfection and internal perfection. You've got to look the part and you've got to be the part. The Netziv says something a little different and equally important. Sometimes you've got to diminish the peace a little bit. Sometimes there's too much peace. Don't forget the people, many of the people who Nebuch were slaughtered and massacred last week were people who were dedicated to peace. They wanted peace. They wanted peace with Gaza. They wanted peace with Gazans. And all of Israel, they were the people who stood on the front line of peace. Says the Netziv, sometimes you've got to reduce the peace a little bit. Sometimes there's too much peace. Shelo kana bimei hashoftim al pesel Micha, because Pinchas, who lived a very long time, didn't get as angry with the idol of Micha as he did get with Pinchas. He lost his edge. This edge of kanaut, because he was the man of peace. After the thing with Zimri, he was given the Brit Shalom. Says the Netziv, Brit Shalom, yes, But there are times when you've got to diminish the shalom. Sometimes peace attacks you. Sometimes peace destroys you. And you've got to know when to diminish peace a little bit in order to restore the shlemut. So if we put Hirsch and the Netziv together, what a beautiful message we've got. Yes, sometimes you do have to diminish the shalom. You can't hang into shalom and hang on to peace, and that's part of the diplomatic issues that we're going to be facing the next few weeks. At what point you say, no, peace, we've got to make peace, everything's got to be sorted out, and that's going to be the international pressure. And two leaders are going to have to make that judgment. When is it ktiyah? When do you have to reduce shalom in order to get to the shlemut? And when do you have to pursue shalom? And most important of all, Reb Shimshon Raphael's Hirsch is a Baal Mum, can't be the person to do this. The person to take a situation where peace has been shattered, the person who can take the shrapnel of the peace that has been shattered and reform it into something that is shalem, something that is whole, something that is perfect, something that is valuable. That has to be a person himself who is not a Baal Mum, who has no character flaws, a person who himself represents that which is shalem.